This is part 3 of 7, diving into having a 4K display on a phone. If you'd like to see the full episode, it's available right now, right there. Otherwise, let's jump into it. I mentioned limitations of the camera, so let's cover that now. So far we've talked about patterns that are used for displays, but the same sets of tricks are actually used on cameras. The assumption goes that we have much more sensitivity to the brightness of light than we do for the colours of light. So therefore, more of the resource available is put into determining the brightness of the light than the colour of the light, and this determines what layout we will use on the sensor. This is called a Bayer filter pattern. So while this gives us the advantage of better representing what we see well and not focusing so much resource on what we don't see well, it comes with a consequence that the colour resolution does not match the brightness resolution, and so recombining those two things together can be a little bit tricky, and when it's done poorly it leads to colour bleeding on fine detail. But the important thing to note here is, as you approach the limit in the resolution of the camera, the algorithms that try to match up the colour and the brightness start doing the wrong thing. The most notable example of that is with Sony 4K phone. When I have a single pixel, I can very often capture the red, green and blue components separately. But as soon as I start having other pixels on the same line, then that whole thing falls apart and we just get the final colour that we were supposed to see all along.
So at this part of the video, I was going to be interrupting and telling you about, hey, I've just improved the technique, and it looks like this, and show you this nice macro shot. And then I got as far as editing that, and then suddenly I was like, bing! And now I have footage that looks like this. So now I can get really, really close. But this is pushing the limits of what I can really say that you can do with consumer gear. But just know that everything else in this video is done with very old consumer grade hardware. So this is stuff that you can do yourself if you want to. But it's been really cool to get these closer shots here, to just sort of really get some nice quality stuff here. This is so close that in some of the videos you can actually see the defects of the subpixels. The catch is that it's very, very time consuming to get these shots and very fiddly and frustrating. And you don't actually know until you review the footage whether or not it's actually good enough. So I've stuck to my main technique for this video, which is very easy to do. And this technique here is going to be worth a video all by itself because it's freaking cool.
In part 3, the capture setup, we've talked about different camera sensor colour filter layouts. We've talked about how those layouts change how the camera perceives the world, and we've talked about the effect that that can have on the final image. I've given a glimpse into how I've managed to improve the capture setup significantly, and that's going to be a whole new video by itself. If you'd like to see the full episode in its entirety, it's available right now there. And if you'd like to see the playlist of what's available so far, that's here, and like and subscribe.